Self-Inflicted Aerial Nostalgia, released in 1989, is often considered the record where GBV finds their signature sound. The production on this feels more raw and lo-fi than Sandbox, even though they were both recorded in Steve Wilbur's 8-track garage studio. My hunch is that Bob, feeling like Sandbox was overproduced, wanted to go in the opposite direction and make something deliberately raw and with a lot less polish and tweaking. Studio owner Steve Wilbur plays bass and some guitar on this album. You can hear him laying down a rare for Guided by Voices soaring guitar solo on the track An Earful of Wax. So, gone is the straightforward power pop of Sandbox. Instead, we start seeing stranger and more psychedelic subject matter. Songs with titles like The Future Isn't Eggs and Chief Barrel Belly, and lyrics like in radio shows, insistence that we trust the wizard. These are starting to feel more like where the band is going to be in the next 4 or 5 years. They're not entirely there, but they're a lot closer than they've been on previous efforts. Paper Girl opens up with a snippet of a lo-fi basement jam that cuts jarringly to the proper song, a pretty acoustic ballad. These concepts, mixing higher fidelity material with lo-fi material, smashing song bits together, and making collages out of sound would become a staple of the Guided by Voices sound. Liar's Tale is a beautiful song. It's hands down one of my favorite early Guided by Voices songs. The first time I ever heard it was in the concert footage that I believe is a bonus feature on the DVD The Who Went Home and Cried. I was obsessed with the rhythmic tremolo that anchors the song, and the melody got stuck in my head instantly. And it actually took me a while to track down where that song was, because when you're a new GBV fan, navigating their huge discography is quite a task, and I had no idea what the proper song title was. So finding it on Self-Inflicted Aerial Nostalgia was a treat for me. Hands down, one of my favorite tracks from the band. Some of my other favorites off this record are An Earful of Wax, The Great Blake Street Canoe Race, Trampoline, and Short on Posters. But honestly, everything on this record is good. So where does Self-Inflicted Aerial Nostalgia sit in the GBV discography? I think it's a good one. It still wouldn't be my pick to start with, but I think it makes a much better entry point than the previous LPs. There really isn't a bad song on here, and I can see why many of Bob's friends at the times considered this their favorite record of his from the early days. I'll be back next time to talk about Same Place the Fly Got Smashed, which is one of my all-time favorite Guided by Voices records. We are about to enter the stretch of records where Guided by Voices were, in my opinion, the best band in the world. So subscribe to follow along if you want to hear me talk about the rest of Guided by Voices discography. And it's probably going to take a while because there's so much material.